Hi students, welcome to Shaker's History classes. We are doing this class as part of Prelims and Mains 2022 series. We are continuing the Khalji dynasty. In this class we focus on Khalji reforms. Alauddin Khalji in his lifetime or in his regime, he brought two significant and important reforms. One is market reforms, another one is agrarian reform. We have to see what are the factors for the for these reforms and what are the achievements of these reforms. First we see the what are these market reforms. Broadly we categorize these reforms into three categories. One is one market related to food grains, another market related to cloth, and third one related to horses, slaves and cattle. Alauddin Khalji, in previous class we have seen that before 1290 there was complete control of Turkish nobility, and even the sultans were becoming the puppet in the hands of Turkish nobles. After Khaljis emerged as Delhi sultans, gradually the monopoly of Turkish nobles gradually declined, and the state opened high offices even for non-Turkish background. In this respect, the reformation that were taking place during Khalji time period and the nature of state, the policies they followed, all these were categorized as part of Khalji revolution. The emergence of non-Turkish background people reaching the office of Sultan itself a revolutionary development in 1290. Continuing this tradition, Alauddin Khalji he brought even more reformatory steps and revolutionary steps even in administration as well. Those were the times of Mongol invasions. One of the reasons for the emergence of Jalaluddin Khalji as Sultan was continuous invasions from Mongols. So this Mongol threat always continued for the Delhi Sultanate period. So the Mamluk dynasty faced it starting from Iltutmish. Iltutmish was contemporary of Chengiz Khan. After Chengiz Khan, his successors they continuously tried to invade Indian subcontinent. Iltutmish and his successors and Khaljis also continuously faced this threat. Later, after Khalji dynasty, Tughlaqs also faced this challenge. So he has so many things to take care of it. In addition to external danger, Alauddin Khalji had internal challenges as well. In previous class we have seen that he became the Sultan after murdering his own uncle. His father-in-law Jalaluddin Khalji was murdered by him and he became the Sultan. Naturally, in those circumstances, all the nobles are not going to support his support him as Sultan. So he had to follow certain regulations and reforms in order to bring the state of affairs under his control. In previous class we have seen that in order to contain the power of nobles, he brought some regulations. Like even the marriages among noble families needed Sultan permission. He banned intoxicants and wines also. Even he prohibited public parties. He established a strong spy system so that he will come to know whatever is happening in his administration. So all these reforms he was bringing in order to stabilize his authority as Sultan and also bring the prestige to the crown. Continuing this tradition, he followed market reforms as well. So reasons, if we see the reasons, one, the Mongol invasions. In order to contain the Mongol invasions, he need a large army and also a strong army. In order to maintain large and strong army, you have to provide the salaries and you have to administer the army very efficiently. If there is no reform on market end and revenue reform or land revenue end, soon the treasury of the Delhi Sultanate is going to exhaust, because he has to give a lot of salaries to the soldiers at high salaries, and if prices of the market goods also high means the salaries will increase further. It will soon exhaust the treasury of Delhi Sultanate. So he has to protect the treasury of Delhi Sultanate. In order to raise a large army and protect the treasury, he brought these reforms. And also he needed regular supply of cheap food grains, so that even during the time period of scarcity, famine or drought, Sultanate will be under safe condition. So these are the causes for the market reforms. He, as part of these market reforms, he established three important markets. One market is for food grains, one market is for cloths, another market for horses, slaves and cattle. Now you see, the first market is for food grains. Food grains are essential. Now, if food grains are cheaper, he can reduce the salaries of army also. So at lower salaries, he can recruit large number of soldiers, and the cost of living also goes down because of cheaper availability of food grains, so that there will be no resentment among the soldiers and there will be no mutiny among the soldiers. Now we will see what kind of measures he has taken with respect to food grains. So what is the purpose of food grain? One should be availability. Availability of food grains should be always should be there, so that he can distribute the food grains to the people. One. Second one, accessibility, or you can say the cheaper. The prices of one is availability, that means large quantity of food grain should be there at the state disposal. Second one is these food grains should be accessible to the people at very cheaper price. Now what he has done for that? Meerut to the borders of Kara would be paid directly to the state, not be assigned in Ikta to anyone. As part of this, in order to make the food grains available in Delhi market, what he has done? He brought the fertile plain area under Kalisa. That means directly state, this area will not be given to Ikta. Ikta means, Ikta is a area, it is given to Iktadar. You can simply say a governor. As part of salary to the governor, a land is assigned to the administrator. Administrator will collect the land revenue from this area, and he uses some of this amount for his administration purpose. Remaining amount is deposited in the treasury of Delhi Sultanate. What Alauddin Khalji did, he did not assign any of this area to Ikta. That means whatever land revenue comes from this area directly goes to the state treasury. Why this particular area? This is more fertile. This is more fertile. That means more production, more productivity and more production and more treasure. So more food grains or more cash can be deposited in the state treasury. So that is what is the measure he has taken during his lifetime. Next, land revenue was raised to half of the produce, and so he has not only taken away the Ikta lands directly to the state, and also he raised the land revenue to the half. That means once again he is increasing on one hand he is increasing the productive land, on the other hand he is increasing the share of the state also. Second one, peasant to pay in cash, and they were forced to sell their food grains at a low price to Banjaras. State needed cash, cash should be given to the soldiers, and he demanded peasants should pay only in cash. And however, the cash means once again peasants were forced to sell at very lower price to the Banjaras. Banjaras is very important in point of view of prelims. Already previously also UPSC has asked in which of the following contexts are the term Banjaras in medieval India means. So they have given A, B, C, D. A soldier, B merchants, or so like that. So here these are traders. Banjaras means traders. For traders, peasants were forced to sell their food grains so that Banjaras will bring these food grains to the markets at lower price. So now you see, on one hand, he has taken the productive lands directly under state control. Second, he raised the production, or he raised the share of state to the half. He once again increasing the state share. And another one, he has to bring the food products, food grains at lower price. And so for this, peasants were forced to sell to Banjaras, and these Banjaras are traders, they bring to market at lower price. This is what he has done for grain market. In addition to that, there was no hoarding also. He issued regulation. If any person purchase at a lower price, and if he tries to sell at a very high price, a very harsh punishment were given to those who violate this principle. So that the people who are purchasing the food grains at a lower price, they will give to the consumers at low price. So he ensured the cost of living comes down, so that state need not to give high salaries. Whatever salaries soldiers and administrators are getting, they can live comfortable life, so that he can maintain large army and also efficient army. State itself set up warehouses and stocked them with food grains. In order to face the crisis or scarcity, they maintained warehouses also. These cheaper available food grains, they were stored in the warehouses. Whenever there was a famine or threat of shortfall in supply, stocks can be used. Remember, this is the age of army invasions. At any point of time, the roads can be blocked. So Delhi Sultanate, if enemy army blocks the roads, then it can cut off the supplies of food. Even during that time period also, these warehouses can be utilized in order to maintain the surplus. So these are the various reforms Alauddin Khalji brought in order to maintain a grain market which is selling products at lower price. This is about grain market. When it comes to other markets, another total 3 markets he managed. One is food grain, second one is about clothes, third one is about horses and slaves. First we will see horse market. Horses are very important in those times. They are useful for army maintenance. Strong and efficient horses are very useful in winning the wars and battles. So efficiency of the army could not be maintained without quality horses. Horses should be maintained at a high level of quality. Control of the prices of horses was important, and it required in a large number. If the horses required in large number, now large army to control Mongol invasions, and also he was following expansionary policies even within Indian subcontinent. In order to expand Delhi Sultanate, he needed a large army. In order to control the Mongol invasions, he needed a large army. For whenever large army means large supply of horses are required. Large horses, large quantity of horses. Once again, if horse prices goes up, once again maintaining this much large army becomes difficult. This is one reason why he wanted to control the prices of horses. The conquest of Gujarat made horses import. On one hand, he annexed Gujarat also. Gujarat now, this is a port area. Arabian horses, Iraqi horses, and these can be imported through Gujarat route as well. So he has taken different measures to maintain quality horses and also sufficient horses for large army maintenance. He also maintained controlled slave market. Slavery was accepted in medieval India as a normal feature. So whenever slaves are required by the nobles and other common people, slaves can be purchased at lower prices. So these are various important measures he has taken. Now come to cloth market. Generally, control of prices of cloth perfume was not vital for the Sultan. When Sultan's major aim was to maintain large army and sufficient quantity of horses, quality horses are required, and food grains are important. When it comes to cloth market, perfume market, he need not to go into that detail to control the prices. However, probably he wanted to fix these prices in order to satisfy the nobles. Remember, always remember under what circumstances he became the Sultan. Their prices were also fixed probably because it was felt that high prices in this sector would affect the prices in general. If prices of cloth and perfumes goes up, even though he regulated food grains and horses, but these prices may once again increase the cost of living, and again it is going to fell on treasury. So maybe for that reason he wanted to control even these products as well, or it might have been done in order to please the nobility. Already you can see the Turks nobility, the monopoly of Turks nobility came down, non-Turks emerged, and also he eliminated some of the intermediary also in revenue collection. So once again, Jamindars and local Rajas, they also felt alienated. Probably in order to please these people, he reduced the prices of these commodities as well. So that in general, not only for maintenance of army, but for general common public also, the prices will come down, cost of living comes down, quality of life may go up. So this could be the one of the reasons for controlling cloth market. However, these market or these prices were mostly affected the people of Delhi and surrounding areas. In other parts of the country, the prices are almost similar like before Alauddin Khalji. These are about the market reforms. So totally we have to remember three markets. One is food grain market, second one horses market, and next one is the cloth market. Now we will see agrarian reforms. Land revenue. Agrarian reforms means reforms towards land revenue. Land revenue was the major source of income for the state in those times. Today, state can get income from different sectors like primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary, quaternary. However, in those times, agriculture was the major profession. Only land revenue was the major source of state income. In order to increase the land revenue, in order to increase the income of the state, then he followed some of the reforms even in this sector as well. Land revenue would be assessed on the basis of measuring the land under cultivation. So a proper measuring of the land was done during his time period, so that he can come to know who is paying and how much land is giving how much land revenue. landlords of the area called Koot and Mukaddams. These terms also are important. Again, question can be asked like the terms Koot and Mukaddam represent in medieval India. So they are landlords or jamindars, large landholders. They also should pay the same taxes like others. Peasants were paying the taxes. Now even large landholders also should pay their taxes. Earlier they were passing the pressure onto the peasants who were working under them. Now due to this measurement of the land, even Koot and Mukaddam also should pay the land revenue or tax to the state. That is how he reduced the leakages in land revenue collection. Taxes on cattle and houses also imposed. Milch cattle and houses, gari, charai are the taxes. They were also imposed and increased the state revenue. Most importantly, he insisted that accounts should be audited very strictly. Maintenance of accounts, and these accounts should be audited very strictly. Small defaults also be beaten and sent to prison. Harsh punishment always. Alauddin Khilji, he was following the despotic policies. Absolute policies, despotic policies, harsh punishment, severe punishments were given even those who violate even a simple manner also. So small defaults also they were sent to prison. Alauddin's agrarian policy was certainly harsh and must have affected the ordinary cultivators. So impact is normally not only jamindars who were evading the taxes, they were also affected. At the same time, ordinary cultivator who could not pay sometimes taxes due to famine or a drought, they were also facing these challenges. Now what kind of impact it had? Naturally, the first aim of all these reforms were to maintain large army. Alauddin raised a large and efficient cavalry. Large army he maintained, large number of horses he could maintain, and quality horses he could maintain. It enabled him to defeat Mongols' onslaught. So Mongol onslaught, continuously Mongol threats were there. He tried to control them effectively. Alauddin agrarian policy was harsh and affected the ordinary cultivators. So positive impact is he controlled Mongol invasions. He expanded his territories also. He tried to push the limits of Delhi Sultanate, and he tried to enter the armies into deep Deccan also. These are some of the important impacts. And also he controlled the nobility and authority of Sultan was maintained. However, negative aspect is it had greater harsh impact on cultivators, ordinary cultivators, because 50% land revenue increased. Even a small default, once again they were thrown in prison or beaten. Harsh punishments and harshness increased for common ordinary peasants as well. However, state reached closer towards the peasants and rural folks because of the measurement and continuous state authority involvement at the rural life. So this means for normal common people, and the relationship between state and common people gradually increased. The market regulations of Alauddin came to end. However, these reforms, only a strong ruler like Alauddin Khilji can maintain these reforms. His weak successors could not maintain these, and with his death, his reforms also ended. The measures were harsh and have affected the ordinary cultivator along with rich classes. Some reforms died with his death. Some of his measures were continued by his successors. It later proved a basis for agrarian reforms of Sher Shah and Akbar. So he was a pioneer in this respect. Sher Shah and Akbar, we always study about Sher Shah and Akbar in great manner when it comes to land reforms. In terms of measurement, bringing new innovation methods in terms of measurement, in terms of calculating the share, in terms of segregating the lands also, in terms of segregating like which kind of lands are producing more, for them separate kind of tax. Those the lands which are not giving high productivity, for them were treated separately. So these kind of innovations were done during Sher Shah Suri and Akbar regime. But before them, long before them, Alauddin Khalji tried some of these reforms in a rudimentary form. So he became pioneer for both Sher Shah Suri and Akbar. So these are the various aspects we have to see when it comes to reforms under Alauddin Khalji. Two important reforms. One is market reforms, second one is agrarian reforms. So the major purpose of these reforms, you have to see under what circumstances he became Sultan. He needed a strong army, strong and large number of horses it required. He had to maintain a low cost of life. Then only he can manage this administration and he can contain the threat from Mongols, and also he can expand the territories into other areas. At the same time, he can control the authority of the state without any being questioned by any nobles. All these require a strong treasury. For the maintenance of strong treasury, he followed these reforms. So always remember under what circumstances Alauddin Khilji became Sultan, what were his threats, and how he managed these threats through various reforms. Thank you.